Please help me in giving a huge Canadian welcome to the writer, director, and executive producer of Agatha All Along, Jac Schaeffer. Woo! Yes. Hi, Jac. Hello. Next up, you know him from the series Heartstopper. Please welcome the brand new mysterious addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Joe Locke. Hello, Joe. Hello.
Hi.
And you know and love her from countless amazing roles, but we are all here to celebrate the return of the Wicked Witch of WandaVision. Please welcome the star of Agatha All Along, Kathryn Hahn. Yes! Woo! Hello.
Oh, I love your ears.
Spot the Canadian on the stage. I'm in Chuck Taylor's. I can't believe it. All right, we have got some great questions for you guys today to find out about this show. Well, for these wonderful people. I want to start with one for everyone here. Why don't we start with Jac first? Is Agatha a villain?
Oh, I mean, yeah. She is in the sense of the MCU, right? The MCU loves their labels, and so in that sphere, she's coded as a villain. But we all know she's way, way more than that, and her motivations are very different than your average villain in the MCU. Yeah, and she's far more spectacular.
Joe, what do you say? Do you think Agatha's a villain?
Yeah, I think the best people are, Villains have so many layers to them, they're not just, they've got more motivations than heroes, I guess.
We're learning a lot about you, Joe.
They really are.
And Kathryn, what do you think? Is Agatha a villain?
I mean, you can't put Agatha in a box. I think there's, of course, but one always asks the question, is she a good witch or a bad witch? Which witch is which? There's a lot of witch happening in Agatha Harkness.
Now, obviously, Agatha was a standout character in WandaVision, Jac, but she's in a very bad way at the beginning of Agatha All Along. What is transpiring here? How does she get out of the pickle that she's in at the end of WandaVision?
Yeah, well, we left her entirely powerless. Wanda had taken every scrap of her power, which is like, at the start of Agatha All Along, we've never seen Agatha at sort of square one, which as a storyteller, like that was so appealing to put her in kind of her nightmare scenario. And then on top of that, this mysterious teen shows up and he pitches her the idea of the fastest, best way to get her power back is to walk the witch's road. But in order to do that, she has to form a coven. So this is worst case scenario number 2 for Agatha. First, she's powerless. Second, she has to have sisterhood. And it was just way too much fun to put her in that scenario where she has to be.
Yeah, it's like barf. Yeah. No way.
I'm curious for all three of you if you were fans of Marvel prior to this work. Were you ever a reader of the Marvel comic books?
I have two kids, so that was kind of my entrance into Marvel, was kind of through them. And I love the scale. I love anything big scale like that takes big swings and yet still feels human. Yeah. So I was always a huge lover of watching them. I just loved the humor also. Yeah. The tone was really fun. Yeah. And again, I feel like WandaVision had such a specific tone.
So unique.
Yeah. That just felt kind of, again, like a little wicked stepsister, off to the side, which felt really, really fun to be a part of.
Joe?
Yeah, I grew up with the MCU. I was 5 when the first Iron Man film came out. So
wild.
I feel like it's through my childhood. Yeah, you're all so old.
We're all feeling great, Joe. That's awesome.
So, I grew up with it, and it feels like a very integral part of my childhood, and now I'm in it, which is great.
It must be surreal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the biggest budgets, and they make the most money, and everybody loves them, and then now you're a part of it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Must be surreal. Jack, what about yourself?
Actually, I mean, I wasn't, to be perfectly honest. I've always been a sci-fi kind of gal and very into fantasy when I was young. So I was always in the genre space, but I didn't know much about Marvel, and I hadn't worked on anything superhero-y, and my first job at Marvel was for Black Widow. And I think it actually served me.
Yes.
We love Natasha.
Yes.
But it was, I think it helped me because I didn't come at it from the canon. I came at it from, I mean, Scarlett is a remarkable performer, and I was so fascinated by what she had established as that character and what we could do in her standalone. And then as I continued on in other projects, every time I didn't know much about the comics, and they would, the Marvel people, Mayor Livanos, our executive producer, she would like set things in front of me, and I'd be like, oh, that is cool, yeah, like that.
Which I think is probably a pretty healthy way to come at this in a way, isn't it? You want the audience to be brought in. You don't have to be so inside baseball.
Yeah, well, and I think it's really beautiful now, this sort of full scope of what is Marvel, that the comics are beautiful pieces of art that exist on their own, and then the films and TV shows exist on their own. Like, it's just, it's an explosion of artistry, I think.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the medium of witches as fiction and as material to create these stories. What is it about that side of the world that's so entrancing for you to develop for?
For me, I mean, in the writer's room, that was sort of one of our first orders of business is what is a witch, especially what is a witch inside the MCU. And where we landed with that is, witches are survivors. And historically, they have been othered and persecuted, and they make it through, by good means and bad means. And that is fascinating, the constantly iterating, the theatricality of them, the sort of ritualness, the community. They're inherently tribal, and they might cut you. And it's so cool.
Kathryn, did you respond to all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I love a witch, and I feel that this coven that was put together, we're all witches. For sure, in some way or another. I feel like we're all witches. For sure. And I think there is a feeling of being othered is very potent in being a witch. Like that feeling of being dangerous because you're not understandable and you're a threat almost. Like, I think witches throughout history have been such a threat to men because they're so powerful on their own.
Right.
And I think that there's something very interesting about that. And I love a cackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It contains it all.
Now, there's a ton of musicality. We saw that in WandaVision. You had your own music video, which was incredible. It was so good. It was amazing.
It's called a music video.
It was.
That's so exciting.
It was amazing. We were all singing it. It was great. But Joe, are you also now involved in the singing and the making of music with the witches? Is that happening?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
Let's talk about, he was on Broadway.
We're in spoiler territory. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, it was, we have Patti LuPone in our cast, so to be able to, do music with Patti LuPone is like the best. It's almost like there's so much pressure that there's no pressure because you can't top her, so you may as well stop trying. Just have fun.
Just let her go.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, one of the cool things about Marvel is the team-up situation that they have. They have these beautiful comics where they pair superheroes and stuff. Kathryn, I'm wondering if you've ever thought of a hypothetical team-up for Agatha.
I mean, this particular chemistry is pretty right on. If it was outside of this coven, I've always thought Loki would be fun. Yeah. A lot of mischief.
Yes. He isn't that now, though.
No, I know, but
there's a version of
be.
him that would be, though.
Yes.
Yes. What is the Witch's Road? Take us into what the Witch's Road means for Agatha All Along?
Yeah, well, so the Witch's Road is something from the comics that we have kind of put our own stamp on. And in this world, the Witch's Road it's a gauntlet of trials for witches to embark on, and the idea is that at the end of the road, a witch can get the thing that she is missing. So, I'm very inspired by quest stories, like things like, The Wizard of Oz and Neverending Story and Labyrinth and that kind of thing. So it's got the Witch's Road has those vibes to it.
Very cool. Jac, do you think people should watch WandaVision before they get into Agatha All Along?
I mean, I think it enhances the watch.
Yeah.
It's been my mission at Marvel to make projects that stand alone.
Mm-hmm.
I love being part of a mythology. It's such an honor to be part of a larger tapestry, but you always want your thing to be able to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yes.
But I do think seeing WandaVision in advance of Agatha just makes the watch a bit sweeter.
Very cool. Okay, well, let's talk a little, off book here. I want to know about maybe the first Marvel experience that you had that kind of opened your mind to how big these movies could be. Was there a film or a show that you watched that you just fell in love with?
Oh, I mean, I remember seeing Black Panther and
Yes.
and just flipping out because I had seen all the other movies, with my kids leading up to it, but there was something about of course, the world opening that made me so happy.
Yeah.
And it was also so solid.
Right.
So I was very moved by that and just loved it.
Jac, is that something that surprises you too? The way that, these kind of, they're fantasy infused and they're first audiences that people think of as specific, but they cross over and entertain people that I think surprise people.
Yeah, I mean, Black Panther came out when I had first started working there, and so it was the first premiere that I was invited to. And I'm here to tell you that the Black Panther premiere, if you felt the world tremble, that was the Black Panther premiere. It was so beautiful and so important, and I just drank all the Kool-Aid. I was like, I'm so lucky to be here, and look what they're doing, and it's all so special. And and at that time I was like, I think Thor Ragnarok is amazing, and it is amazing, but Black Panther, just knocked me down. And I think, Marvel tries to, with every project, do something new, and that is invigorating as an artist.
Joe, do you want to tell us your character's name?
Teen. His name's Teen.
It's Teen.
It's Teen, sorry. It's an interesting name. It's very unique, very unique.
Babies are going to be born named Teen.
Okay, well, actually, I do have one more for every one of you. Without spoiling the moment in the show, can you tell us about your favorite day working on Agatha All Along?
Oh, I mean, for sure it had to be, this was one of many days where the coven, all of us were sitting together, our chairs facing each other on stage, having some sort of snack, talking about the next snack, and it was Patty just singing something, and all of us just gabbing, and you had to just step, my mind just stepped back, and I could not believe that it was happening. That it went from that extraordinary experience of WandaVision to this on this set that was the road that is so incredible. It really felt like a fever dream in a good way. It was it really was magic. There's a lot of magic moments on this show.
That's awesome. Joe, do you have a favorite moment?
Do you remember when Patty, she was trying to find a song on her phone to put on?
Oh, yeah.
And she I don't know how she found, but she found this conservative Christian song called "I Married Up."
Yes.
And it was about this Southern man finding a wife who he can put in her place, and she, ironically, was singing this song and then listening to the lyrics and getting so angry at it. But it was so funny because she was like, turn this off! But it was just, it was amazing.
She was singing along at the same time because she couldn't help it.
Yeah.
You're selling so many Patti LuPone records in this panel. It's amazing. And Jac, it must be just this most incredible thing to watch all of these performers just bring it all to life.
Absolutely. I mean, we have the absolute best cast. It's an embarrassment how terrific this cast is, and how well they connected. And they're all witches, and there was a lot of magic on set. And as Kathryn said, we did a lot practically. The show was almost entirely practically, and so all of our our special effects and the road that we built, it was bananas. All of those folks together.
Amazing. Well, this is a surreal moment for me, I have to tell you all. This is incredible. I was watching your show, on my TV in my basement the other day, and here I am on set with all of you. It's incredible. Let's give it another round of applause to the cast and crew of Agatha All Along.
Thank you so much.
Kathryn Hahn.
I have to say hi to you guys.
Joe Locke and Jac Schaeffer. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to see it. I think you guys are going to really freak out.
Yes.
Very excited.
Yes.